Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sterling Piga, Chairperson of the Authority. I'd now like to call to order the June 3rd, 2026 at-large Authority meeting of the Hawaii Community Development Authority. The time is now 10:06 a.m.
In accordance with section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, the Hawaii Community Development Authority is holding today's at-large board meeting virtually on Zoom. The Zoom link details were included on the meeting agenda. Therefore, members of the public are welcome to join us on Zoom and also at our physical meeting site at the American Brewery Building, 547 Queen Street, second floor boardroom, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. The HCDA communication staff is hosting this meeting. Once this meeting begins, everyone will be muted for clear audio. Board members, if you have any comments or questions, please unmute yourselves to speak. It is important that all individuals clearly state their name, pseudonym, or other identifier name each time prior to speaking. If you wish to provide oral testimony and you are attending virtually, please indicate so by clicking the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen. If you are attending in person, you will be called to the front of the room in the order you signed up. Before you begin your testimony, we ask that you identify yourself and spell your name for the record. Your testimony must be related to an item on the agenda. All testimony will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. When time has elapsed, time will be called off, after which you will have 30 seconds to conclude your testimony, and then your audio will be turned off. If you are attending in person, the presiding officer will call the next testifier. Keep in mind that this is an opportunity to share your thoughts with us. If you ask questions during your testimony, neither the board nor the staff is required to provide an answer. The authority's connection or the remote meeting is lost, the meeting will be recessed until the connection is restored. If the connection cannot be restored within 30 minutes, the meeting will be terminated and the authority will continue the meeting at another notice date. Thank you. Chair.
Thank you, Craig. HCDA board members, please remain visible and audible during the meeting. Also, please acknowledge you are present by either saying here or present. Let the record reflect that the following members are present. Vice Chair Ishii.
Here.
Thank you. Secretary Lidstone.
Bill.
Thank you. Member Miranda Johnson.
Here.
Thank you. Member Anderson.
Here.
Thank you. Member Wicker.
Here.
Thank you. Member Streitz.
Here.
Thank you. Member Forsyth.
Here.
Thank you. Member Sarvis.
Here.
Thank you. Member China.
Here.
Thank you. Member Sakota.
Here.
Thank you. Member Duvashel. Yep, there she is. Thank you. Member Gordner.
Here.
Thank you. Member Leong.
Here.
Thank you. Member Kabibi.
Here.
Thank you. And Member Yamasaki.
Here.
Oh,
A day I never thought I would see.
we have quorum.
We have quorum, and if not for that vacant seat, we'd have everyone here. For today's meeting, board members will have an opportunity to ask questions or provide comments after an agenda item has been presented. Individuals from the public who have requested to provide verbal public testimony on a specific agenda item are on standby and will be permitted to provide their testimony respectively. Agenda item number 2 is the approval of minutes. These are the regular meeting minutes of May 6th, 2026. Board members, are there any comments or corrections to these minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved as presented. Next agenda item is decision making. This is to consider authorizing the executive director to enter into a memorandum of agreement to support the Food and Product Innovation Network established under Act 237, SLH 2025, by and between the Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, the Hawaii Community Development Authority, and other state agencies that establishes a framework between the parties for the purpose of supporting facilities that support value-added agricultural, product development, and agribusiness development. Mr. Garrett Sasaki, Chief Financial Officer, will now present the staff report.
Thank you, Chair. Morning, members. The staff report is included in tab 2 of your packet. It also includes the entire MOA that outlines all of the responsibilities, but our sections highlighted. Those responsibilities are consistent with our experience in development and project management. Thank you. Open to any questions.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Garrett Sasaki. Members, any comments or questions on this agenda item? Member Gordon.
So for the MOA, do we have any sense of how many sites there would be for these innovation hubs and production facilities?
Right now, no. But it's envisioned to be maybe one per island or one per county.
Okay. Do we have any sense of whether they would be in our districts or possibly anywhere?
It could be possibly outside of our districts.
And is there any development fee associated with this that we know of?
Not that we know of right now, but as we move through it, get more into it, that'll be something to consider.
Any other questions, member Gordon?
I don't have questions, but I do have one last comment, which is that I want to draw attention to provision 5B that says that, the parties will cooperate to the extent that their participation is required and resources are available. And so particularly as we are still quite likely to get 2 additional districts this time next month, I think, without necessarily all of the funding and resources that we might need to support those. I do hope and expect that staff will prioritize this appropriately relative to our mission and what we've been tasked by the legislature.
And that the legislature will make appropriate appropriations and the governor's administration will ensure that funds reach the people doing the work.
Indeed.
Appreciate your comments, Member Gordon.
I share Member Gordner's sentiments. Members, any other comments or questions on this? I just want to point out for members, this MOA is effective for 2 years if all the parties sign to it from July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2028. So it would permit the board to sort of revisit this in the future. And obviously staff keeps the board updated on all Act 237 projects in progress. So this would sort of just be the beginning of a journey on this front.
So noted, Chair.
Yeah.
Super.
Members, any other comments or questions? We'll move now to public testimony. Do we have any persons pre-signed up wishing to testify on this agenda item? None. Do we have any present or online wishing to provide testimony?
Would you repeat the agenda item right now?
Sure. This agenda item is to consider authorizing the executive director to enter into a memorandum of agreement to support the Food and Product Innovation Network established under Act 237 SLH 2025 by and between the Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, the Hawaii Community Development Authority, and other state agencies that establishes a framework between the parties for the purpose of supporting facilities that support value-added agricultural product development and agribusiness development.
Right,
Okay. Seeing no public testifiers, we'll close public testimony. Members, any final comments or questions before we look for a motion? Seeing none, is there a motion for the board to authorize the executive director to enter into a memorandum of agreement to support the Food and Product Innovation Network established under Act 237 SLH 2025 by and between the Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, the Hawaii Community Development Authority, and other state agencies that establishes a framework between the parties for the purpose of supporting facilities that support value-added agricultural product development and agribusiness development? Do I hear such a motion?
I move.
I saw member Yamasaki, and then who was the second?
Anderson, yeah.
Anderson, seconded by member Anderson. Okay, members, is there any further discussion on the motion moved by member Yamasaki and seconded by member Anderson? Seeing none, we'll ask Garrett to take the roll call vote.
Right, on that motion, member Yamasaki,
Yeah.
member Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Ishii,
Yes.
Secretary Lipstone,
Aye.
member Miranda Johnson,
Yes.
member Wicker,
Yes.
member Strikes,
Yes.
member Forsyth,
Yes.
member Sarvis,
Yes.
member Chino,
Yes.
member Sakota,
Yes.
member Duvashel,
Yes.
member Gordner, Member Leong,
Yes.
Member Kobevi,
Yes.
and Chair Higa.
Yes.
Thank you. So motion passes with 17 yes votes, or 16.
16 yes votes and 1 vacant position. Thank you, Mr. Garrett Sasaki. The next agenda item is to consider authorizing the executive director to initiate rulemaking to amend Hawaii Administrative Rules, Chapter 15-223, 99-year leasehold condominium program, and conduct public hearings to consider adopting the amended rules pursuant to HRS Chapter 91 and Chapter 206E, subject to the governor's approval of SB 2061 CD1 relating to residential condominiums. Mr. Deepak Nupane, Program Specialist, will now present the staff report. Deepak.
Thank you, Chair Higa and board members. The action item is under tab 3 on your handouts, and it's pretty straightforward. I think this is the 99-year leasehold program where it's last year, it's the board authorized public hearing for the rules and administrative rules. Administrative rules were adopted. We went through due diligence, and at the end of the due diligence, we made a recommendation to delay the project because of market conditions, and also the way the statute was, it was the requirements, the restrictions were onerous, and we didn't believe that project was going to be viable. Subsequently, we provided feedback to Senator Chang and some of the statutory requirements and all, and a bill was introduced. And I have summarized the bill. It basically allows addressing some of the affordability, owner occupancy requirements and things like that through rulemaking instead of by statute. And that's the main thing, I believe, and also exempts the design, development, and construction from procurement, and that helps because it requires a lot of back and forth with developers and developing this type of projects. And also, puts in some income requirements, which we already had income requirements in the rules, but now allows that after 60 days, if a project is not sold, then going out to market and that kind of thing. So that's basically summarizing. We'll be drafting the rules, and we have to go through the process. Public hearing will bring the rules as a presentation to the board. And then that's the first public hearing. The second public hearing would be a decision-making hearing and all, and there will be a lot of opportunity for the public to provide testimony on the rules. So with that, I'll stop and we'll run the some questions.
Great. Thank you. Board members, any comments or questions on this agenda item? Member Portner.
So I see that in item 6, in the discussion, right? Item 6, requiring HCA to establish rules to provide dynamic pricing, similar to other state agencies' existing pricing formulas. I assume they're talking about HFDC. So could you help me understand how that might work? We have our own buyback.
We have our own buyback, and I think the intent of that was, we come up with something similar, and I think the formula that we have, and we worked with the board last year, the formula and all, that pretty much will stay the same, and it's very consistent with what the HSFDC has. And also with, HCDA's reserve housing buyback program is very similar.
And one more, please. So in number 2, exempting the design, development, and construction contract from procurement requirements subject to prevailing wage requirements. What do we think is the net effect of that? Because as I understand it, there's some administrative burden and kind of regulatory cost to compliance with the procurement code, but there also may be some additional labor costs associated with abiding by prevailing wage. And as I understand the language in the law right now, it's not an option, it's a requirement for these contracts. Do I have that right?
Yes, it is. I mean, it says subject to, which means that even though it's exempt from procurement, we still have to follow the prevailing wages requirements and all. And that's typically done. I mean, a project like this where we'll have to use 201H exemptions and then maybe dwelling unit revolving fund, that prevailing wages become automatic requirement for those type of projects.
Okay, so we do have evidence that overall, this can be a net positive
Yeah.
for feasibility as 21H 38
Yes.
example.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Chair.
Thank you, Member Gordner. Members, any other comments or questions? I just want to make a brief comment. Obviously, we have to do this as an agency to make our administrative rules consistent with the updated statute, and the process will have plenty of opportunity for public input as the rules are proposed and then adopted. So look forward to more of this in the coming months. Public testimony on this agenda item. Do we have any persons pre-signed up to provide testimony?
We have the.
Okay, yep. Any present or online wishing to provide testimony? Miss Rojas. You're welcome. Yeah, why don't you? Deepak, we can sort of.
Yeah.
For now, thank you.
And then also, I just wanted to say before we sit down, for public testimony, is it possible like before where you have the camera on? Because it's just the voice only, it's because the chat is disabled, and as we saw at the last meeting, when there's technical issues, that there's no way to even signal to to let you know that there's an issue happening.
Your concern is noted, Ms. Rojas, and whenever you're ready, you may begin your testimony not to exceed 3 minutes.
My name is Eric Blanca to start my testimony. This will be my testimony. And it's understood.
Hello, Kaku. My name is John Kioni Avio Turodi. I was arrested on the Mauna Kea Access Road in July. I have been waiting to get a land from the Department of Hawaiian Homes for 40 years. And my mother died waiting on the lease. And she would be like 90 years old right now. And kind of my room's kind of dark for me. And on the Mauna Kea Access Road, I legally under control on the department on DHNL, on not the state. It's Hawaiian homeland. How can you allow the state to arrest me on Hawaiian homeland? You are breaking the law by allowing this to happen. I want you to do 3 things. Number 1, consult all the people on the Hawaiian home list about whether or not we want to let the private companies build the TMT used for our road. Number 2, get the lawyers for the DHHL, who is only protecting the Hawaiians home members' interests, not the state. Number 3, change the DHHL rules on the commissions, so the commission are elected by the Hawaiian Homestead Associates. I hope you are listening to, and I want to let you know that I was arrested, not consulted. Okay. And as today, my son is here with me today. Hopefully, this don't happen to me when I die.
Thank you.
Because I'm still waiting.
Thank you.
Aloha kaku.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you to the testifier. Is there anyone else present or online wishing to provide testimony?
yes, I would like to provide testimony. So
Please.
Tara Rojas, the reason and the way this is connected is because, as it says right here, these lands are called state managed lands. This agency is a state derived agency. Senator Inouye doesn't call it DHHL. In meetings, political and other, she calls the land state managed lands, and these lands are spoken about like trading tokens. As an asset to the state, used as a bargaining tool with the other land swaps, rezones, and build more economic opportunity for the elite who already own everything. I'm reading this testimony here. I myself even started calling it state managed lands. When you realize spiritually, it's a relocation project for the natives. They put all the homesteads on, can't say this later, but not good land, like under an airport. They realize all the geothermal hotspots are only located on that land. Now they need the land back for their energy plans. Why am I saying this? Because I was sideswiped with my opportunity to have an evidentiary hearing to speak more than these 3 minutes allowed, to give you all the facts and the figures and just the truth. Why am I saying this? Is because I've also, and I have it here for the record, that I was the sole testifier for these 99-year leasehold, in addition to me speaking up for the affordable leasehold program, which is not low cost, and you know that there is a difference. But I specifically, in the February 5th, 2025 minutes, public testimony, so I want to bring light to this process. Who do you see here? I think another person may be here because of what I shared, but there was one inquiry to provide oral testimony. No written testimonies were received. So when you say you're going to have more opportunities, don't worry. Who knows about these meetings? Tara, and I went every meeting, and that's why I called a contested case, and I got sideswiped, and I never got answered on that I was supposed to present that day. Knowing that there was no question and answer, I was thinking about it since I left. There was no question and answer from y'all if it was that day. The DAG, Deputy Attorney General, should have said it as well, according to HRSs. Anyhow, my voice was silenced. Tara Rojas testified February 5th, 2025, that all housing development endeavors should take into consideration the reparations that are due to Kanaka Maoli, and housing should be truly affordable to the Native Hawaiians so that Native Hawaiians can continue to live in their lands. So many things I'm gonna say, but I have to hurry up because it's 3-minute testimony, but I hope you allow me to say a little bit more since I got sideswiped and I didn't have my evidentiary hearing, is that I have
I'm gonna request that you summarize your.
okay,
remarks.
so I have it here, it transcribed when Trey Gardner and Michaela Lidstone was appointed to this board, and it's in the transcripts itself, yeah? About how, like learning from the testifiers and then the Native Hawaiians, but yet nothing got stopped when we sent in the preliminary title report. And I have here as well.
Okay, Ms. Rojas, I'm gonna have to ask you to return to your seat. Thank you.
I have the record that
Ms. Rojas,
nothing
I'm
stopped
gonna have
this
to ask you
process.
to return to your seat. Thank you for your testimony. We have the next person registered to testify is online, Eric C. Eric C, you should be able to, yep, we can hear you now.
Okay, great, thank you. This is Eric Clark with JN Group. Are you guys hearing an echo on your end?
Nope, we can hear you loud and clear.
That's good, no problem. We have attended these meetings before, and as part of JN Group, we are a large presence in the community. As you all know, the citizens and the businesses in the community are providing the tax dollars that fund the state and all of your efforts. I think that the amount of power and authority being vested in the executive director's position. Taking aside who that person is today, I would say we're focused on the issue, not the person. With a board that is not an advisory board, that has full responsibility, we believe it does not make sense to vest such powers in an executive director. We also believe that in opportunities to develop real estate in the district should not be done in a way that does not include businesses and other ventures from competing on a level playing field with HCDA. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Clark. Anyone else present or online wishing to provide testimony? Okay, seeing none, we will close public testimony. Members, any questions or comments before we look for a motion? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion for the board to authorize the executive director to initiate rulemaking to amend Hawaii Administrative Rules Chapter 15-223 99-year leasehold condominium program and conduct public hearings to consider adopting the amended rules pursuant to HRS Chapter 91 and Chapter 206E, subject to the governor's approval of SB 2061 CD1 relating to residential condominiums? Do I hear such a motion?
Chair, so moved.
Moved by member Gordner. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by member Strites. Thank you. Members, any further discussion on the motion moved by member Gordner and seconded by member Strites? Seeing none, I'll ask Deepak to take the roll call vote.
The motion been made and seconded on the motion, member Gordner.
Aye.
Member Strike,
Yes.
Vice Chair EC,
Yes.
Secretary Livingston,
I.
Member Miranda Johnson,
Yes.
Member Anderson,
Yes.
Member Wicker,
Yes.
Member Forsyth,
Yes.
Member Sarvis,
Yes.
Member Chena,
Yes.
Member Sakota,
Yes.
Member Duvasel,
Yes.
Member Liang,
Yes.
Member Kabibi,
Yes.
Member Yamasaki,
Yes.
Chair Higa.
Yes.
Motion passes with 16 yes votes and 1 vote.
Great. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, members. The next agenda item is to consider adopting the recommendations of the report of the Permitted Interaction Group established at the March 25th, 2026 Special General Authority Board meeting pursuant to Section 92-2.5B Hawaii Revised Statutes for the purpose of 1, conducting the Executive Director's annual performance review, and 2, establishing the Executive Director's new 1, 3, and 5-year goals, and accordingly amend the agency strategic plan adopted by the authority at its June 4th, 2025 General Authority meeting. I will now present the staff report. We had a series of PIG meetings on April 13th, 17th, and 21st to address these matters. And we reported this out at the last meeting of this board on May 6th. We were able, in the time that the PIG was meeting, to complete the evaluation of the executive director and recommendations on compensation. But we were unable to finalize the 1, 3, and 5-year strategic plan amendments, and a PIG has been formulated that is continuing that work. So today, this action item is only on adopting that evaluation of the executive director and the recommendation of the salary increase. That evaluation was that the executive director had exceeded the performance standards in the last evaluation period, and the PIG recommendation was a 15% salary increase. In your packet under tab 4, you can see that staff report along with the evaluation of the PIG members in terms of their scoring of the executive director on a range of dimensions. We're thankful to Member Wicker for helping provide some templates that other state agencies have been using to evaluate their executives that were very helpful for the PIG in figuring out the dimensions on which we should be evaluating the director. And that is the end of the staff report presentation. But the recommendation here today is to adopt that exceeds performance expectations review and to approve and recommend a 15% salary increase for Executive Director Nakamoto. I'll stand open now for any comments or questions from the members of the board. Member Strides.
Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to understand better the next step. So this adopting the report today would not be establishing the next PIG. That would be, I'm guessing, because I don't see that on the agenda.
Sorry, yeah, the PIG was already established at the last board meeting. So the
oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, I missed that one. Okay.
Yeah, the 1, 3, and 5 year PIG is meeting to discuss the strategic plan amendments.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you, Member Strides. Member Wicker.
Thank you, Chair. So I'll just note that I'll be going no because of the recommendation on the 15% increase. And that's because during discussions, it was tied to the Commission on Salaries adjustments. However, HCDA positions, they're not positions established under the Commission on Salaries framework. The COS applies specifically to the executive branch departments, heads, and deputies. HCDA is not one of the identified agencies within the COS classifications. We did get guidance from our administrative service office as well as our human resource. They treat HCDA exempt and excluded employees separately from the Commission on Salaries, and they tie these positions to the BU 13, Bargaining Unit 13. As of June 1st, the guidance provided to us from HR is across the board 2.95% increase. And that is being considered right now for all of DBED's attached agencies. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Wicker. Members, any other comments or questions? Member Gordon.
Chair, last year, this board, I believe, also recommended a 15% raise for the executive director. What was the final outcome, or perhaps for the staff, what was the final outcome of that?
I can answer that question. The 15% increase was set by this board, which has the statutory authority to set the salary and recommend any changes to the salary of the executive director. The Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism did not approve the 15% raise. And so for the last year, Executive Director Craig Nakamoto has received the same salary that he received the year prior. So his salary did not receive any adjustment.
Thank you, Chair. And as a follow-up question, so the Commission on Salaries point that was mentioned, based on what you said about the board having the statutory authority to establish the sole authority, I believe, to establish the executive director's salary, am I right in understanding that the PIG may have used that as reference, but not necessarily that because we're required to follow it in either direction?
I will speak on behalf of myself and not the PIG, but at both this meeting and the previous PIG that voted to recommend the salary increase, I personally considered a range of comparable positions, both inside and outside of the government, also considered the performance of the executive director, and considered the relevant qualifications that the position requires based on the increasing responsibility being given to the Hawaii Community Development Authority, including development outside of our traditional community development districts, additional support to other agencies, and the fact that this agency has primarily exempt employees. So most of the staffing of this agency is dependent on the executive director's ability to attract and to retain qualified staff who often have comparable positions that pay them more, as does the executive director. So in my personal approach to recommending the 15% increase, I considered a range of things that any member of an executive board, whether public or private sector, would consider when trying to set the salary of the executive director or the executive of an agency or company. So while Member Wicker may feel that the PIG discussion only considered the work of the Commission on Salaries, this board member considered many other factors both this year and last year. Does that answer your question, Member Gordner?
Yes, thank you, Chair. And in that case, I have one final comment, which is I will vote in support of this in part, in no small part, because I do believe that the evaluation that we have before us is fair and correct in terms of the executive director's performance to this date, but also because, as I keep repeating, we are being asked to do more and more. And so if HCDA is being asked to do 15% more work in the near future, as I think we are, and we continue voting to support, then I believe that setting considerable increases in the executive director's salary will be necessary to recruit a future candidate as capable as executive director.
Thank you, Member Gordner. Member Kabibi.
Thank you, Chair. I'm in support of the 15% increase, but I have a couple of thoughts, and I apologize. I was part of the PIG, but when I heard you say that, you know, the group voted to give him 15% last year, and then it wasn't funded by DBET. So if we vote again to say that he's going to get 15%, what's preventing him from giving him nothing? So would it make more sense to amend the motion to say to give no less than at least what the bargaining unit 13 is getting, and no more than 15%? I don't know. I just don't want him to end up with nothing for another year. I don't think that would be correct. So I don't know if I'm maybe it's understanding. Thank you.
Member Kabibi, I think the board could amend the recommendation to say no more than a 15% salary increase. Ultimately, the discretion on approving any of these salary increases apparently lies with DBET. So I'm going to actually let Member Wicker answer this question.
Thank you, Chair. And to Member Kabibi, actually, that's what I suggested in the PIG was a base. And so now talking with HR and ASO, there is a base at 2.95%. And if we're able to put that motion in place, no less than, that would be at least a base on what he could be getting, or he would be getting. So that's currently under review by Director Follow, our program managers now. But yeah, supporting a 2.95% at least, if we can do that.
Member Sarvis.
Yeah, I'll be voting in support. I just want to make a kind of general comment. I mean, if HCDA's workload is going up by 15% or whatever percent, and we're recommending this for the executive director, I would hope there's some consideration for the rest of the staff as well, because things are getting hard.
Amen. Members, any other comments or questions?
I have one final one, Chair.
Member Gordner.
If under state law, this board determines the salary of the executive director, on what legal basis can DBET refuse to make that salary increase?
Member Wicker, do you want to cite the specific statute that DBET has used to justify denying the executive director the salary increase that this board voted to authorize last year?
I do not have the exact in front of me, but it's I believe it's under Chapter 25.
Okay, thank you, Member Wicker. So DBET has used a statute that says that they may, I believe, govern personnel matters of attached agencies to DBET as the justification for why they can disapprove the salary increase.
It also says salary adjustments are subject to governor's approval as well as the legislature. So the salary adjustments that come in, we would submit through the budget process.
Thank you, Member Wicker. Member Gordner, does that answer your question?
In part.
Okay. Members, any other comments or questions? Member Yamasaki.
I just want to say I'm in full support of the motion. I'm a firm believer of the great work that Craig has done over the years since I've been involved. I really appreciate how he keeps us informed on the board level and his confidential, not confidential, his communications with the state legislature. It's not an easy position where he has to balance the needs of the organization against confidential conversations with the legislators, but I firmly believe he's doing an excellent job. I'm not sure why he's not wearing his aloha shirts today, but I appreciate his professionalism and his work ethic, and I'm in full support of the motion, and I agree with the chair's methodology in coming up with the 15%, which I'm full support of.
Thank you, Member Yamasaki. Member Sakota.
Just one thing to make clear is that the 15% number is coming from the Salary Commission that approved a 15% raise for senior members of certain agencies. That's correct, right?
Yeah,
If
if I might, as a member of the PIG last year, I think the concern last year was actually that relative to market comp positions, Craig Nakamoto is severely underpaid. And so the PIG last year actually entertained potentially giving even more than a 15% salary increase to bring Craig's compensation into alignment with comparable positions. Because the state was moving in other agencies to increase executive pay by 15%, the PIG said that that would be a reasonable target. Now, this follows the previous year. The previous year, I was on the PIG that discussed Director Nakamoto's performance. And during that PIG, the recommendation was to give Craig a substantial raise to bring him into alignment with market comp positions. And we received guidance from a representative of DBET in that PIG that any raise larger than, I think, 4% would probably be disapproved. And so that PIG voted on a 4% recommendation rather than something more substantial. But recognizing that these percentages compound year over year, the PIG last year said, well, we might as well go for the largest reasonable increase possible, which was 15%, given that all of the other directors at the state level and deputy directors were receiving a 15% salary increase. So though the Commission on Salaries work to recommend a 15% increase was part of the calculus of the PIG both this year and last year, this board member can speak in a personal capacity to say it was part of the broader goal of getting the director fairly compensated, despite the fact that some people within the state administration are resisting paying a salary commensurate to the director's performance, qualifications, and the responsibility in this role that is increasing every year. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to make that clear.
Member Ishii.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say that I'm also in support of the increase. It sounds more like a compression issue across the state versus a performance issue. And quite frankly, I think Executive Director Nakamoto has really performed to the level that we had expected out of the position and out of his directorship. So for my personal opinion, I am in favor of the 15% increase. And thank you, Chair, for explaining sort of the background information as well.
Thank you, Vice Chair Ishii. Members, any other comments or questions? I have one comment. Oh, sorry. Member Leong, please.
I appreciate Member Kabibi's suggestion, but I'd like to leave it without the amendment and leave it at 15% because I don't want DBET to have that opportunity.
Thank you, Member Leong. Member Wicker.
Sorry, I agree with the conversation, but DBET goes in front of both the governor and the legislature to justify the budgets. And if a 15% increase is there and we don't get the funds, then how is HCDA to pay for that salary adjustment? We've had salary adjustments taken out the prior years for some of our agencies when we supported them and put that in.
Yeah, Member Wicker, that is a good question. And this board member understands that the representatives of DBET are called every year as part of their job description to go before the legislature and to justify the budgets for various attached agencies. This board member, speaking on behalf of himself, feels that everybody needs to do their job. That is the job of the representatives of DBET. The job of the members of this board is to set the strategic direction for this agency, to hold it accountable to that strategic plan, ensure that it does so in a transparent manner, and that it is using and stewarding public resources well, and to recruit and to compensate fairly an executive director that can lead the agency in this work. My belief is for the 4 years that I have been on this board, I and other board members have done their utmost to fulfill their responsibility as board members, uncompensated board members, volunteering significant time in pursuit of this agency's mission. And so my request would be that the representatives at DBET figure out how to provide a robust justification for Craig's performance and compensation. And I would be happy to appear before any legislative body to testify on behalf of Director Nakamoto's performance. I'd be happy to meet with any legislator or duly appointed authority in the state of Hawaii to vouch for his quality. And I would encourage the members of DBET to do the same, given the exemplary performance that the PIG has seen the director provide. Member Kabibi, your question.
I just wanted to thank you for that comment, Chair. That's exactly what I was going to ask, if there was something that we could do to compel DBET to advocate for the 15% increase. So that's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, Member Wicker.
No, sorry, let me be clear, is that it's not advocating for it. I'm asking if the salary adjustment is not approved by the legislature, what is HCDA's plan to cover that adjustment with its current budget? Can it take that in?
I'll ask staff to respond to that.
So also Garrett to chime in, but come July 1st, we are not going to be general funded at that point. So it'll be all of our staff will be special funded. And so that's what's going to cover not just my salary, but it will be to cover the salary of all staff. And if a ceiling increase is needed, then we'll ask for that. But I want to just note that it's moving from general funds to special funds entirely on July 1st, if the budget is signed that way.
Member Wicker, does that answer your question?
Broadly, it sounds like they would have to come in possibly for a ceiling increase, which would need legislative approval, and they would still need to look at their budget to figure out how to absorb a 15% increase.
Given that Executive Director Nakamoto, the PIG has recommended exemplary exceeding performance, I'm sure that he and the staff together can figure out this matter outside of this meeting. Members, any other comments or questions? Okay, I just briefly want to make a comment. This is my final meeting on this board. I've served for 4 years now, all 4 with Director Nakamoto. First, he is a lawyer, which is a significant investment of time and energy. He is a development professional with extensive background in development. It is unlikely that this agency or any agency could find somebody of his qualifications for $165,000 a year on renewable 1-year contracts. It is extraordinarily unlikely that any state agency could find someone of this man's caliber in terms of not only recruiting, but retaining qualified staff, accepting with joy the increasing responsibility that the legislature gives to this agency every year, and representing this agency not only in the public, but also before the legislature. In my estimation, having worked extensively in both in and around county and state government in Hawaii, I think that Director Nakamoto exemplifies public service. And last year, he was incredibly selfless when he knew that DBED was disapproving the 15% salary increase. He was willing to forego any effort to try to get him any salary increase for fear that there might be reprisals or attacks on the agency. It is rare to find people who are willing to serve in that way. All of that to say, I will be voting yes on this matter. Members, any more comments or questions? Public testimony. Do we have any persons pre-signed up to provide testimony? Any present or online wishing to provide testimony? Ms. Rojas.
So according to the agenda and the PIG report, we're talking about agenda item 1.1, but there's also 1 and a 1.2. This is a for action.
We're on agenda item 3.
Yeah, sorry. I'm looking at the for action, the subject, the consider that, that there's a 1 and then the letter I and then the 2 small letter. Yeah. So are we doing just the 1.1 or the 1 and 2?
Sorry, Ms. Rojas, if I can answer your question.
Go ahead.
The PIG met to do both of those things. But we were only able to finish the first thing, which was the executive director's evaluation and compensation adjustment. So the PIG actually didn't make any strategic recommendations. But because the PIG was formulated for this purpose, it has to be agendized that way because that was the official purpose of the PIG.
So we're not allowed to neither comment on the 2, just the 1.
Well, the PIG has made no recommendations on the strategic plan. You're welcome to comment on whatever you want, as always.
Okay, mahalo nui. So Tara Rojas, and as I just heard, I had looked up, but you just provided, so 165,000 budget or salary. And so thus the 15% would be about $24,000 increase per year, which would bring it up to 180, more or less. And so almost like a quarter of a million. So I don't know if you saw, but you heard the city council as well, that they, against the public wishes for that, I think it was a 67% increase or that huge increase, they just gave themselves another increase, the salary commission, and we just heard it say, I heard you're exempt. My just comment is this. I hear you and I respect, in your position that your colleagues and then the director, and just to give selflessly, without compensation for the well-being of staff and who's around you. I have that empathy. But what I'd like to bring forth is that it was really interesting. I wasn't planning to testify on this, but in light of, for example, UHBOR giving, salary increases, seeing the city council now, even if that one council member said, we don't need this increase right now, again, after we just got one, and then now hearing this increase and how just within these agencies, mind you guys are, not compensated, but the executive director, these increases, it means a lot. Because, but by the way, so I oppose this, because right now you still have the community suffering the effects of the Kona lows. So for example, if you think about this, if one of the developments that you had constructed suffered, damages in the, for example, Kona low or any type of disaster, you build, but you're not there to help the people. And thus I have an issue because I know there's still community suffering to take these increases. When at a time, there are so many people still being affected. With that being said, I heard you said to steward the resources, but yet we still have to address that item too, the resources of whom it belongs. So on top of that, you're getting increases to continue to do what you're doing. So with that and the other item, which shows that it wasn't premature, that it's in the plan to construct 1, 5, 7 years in the strategic and real estate plan. That is just discontinuous overlooking of the fact that there are a lot of people doing without. And for example, as I was looking at my bills as I was paying, my HOA increased because they're taking out for reserves. And
I'm
it's
gonna ask you
almost
to
as,
summarize.
I'll summarize. So it's almost as much as what I'm paying for mortgage. So these are the type of things, in addition to like you're saying, sewer went up, that, and to be in this position to build when people are saying stop, and people are still suffering in the community that they need help. I'm against any increases in any industry against any people because of the fact that the community still needs help. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rojas. Anyone else wishing to provide testimony present or online?
Eric C.
Yeah, Eric C., you're welcome to provide testimony.
Hear me?
Yep.
The only feedback I would provide is that in the future, when you consider performance for that position, please consider input from the community members, both citizens and businesses. We have raised significant amount of concerns, including a letter addressed to the board. And we have had meetings with our fellow citizens and businesses in excess of well over 100 people per meeting. And we feel like that should be taken into consideration, almost like a customer satisfaction score. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Perfect, thank you. And speaking on behalf of this board member, Mr. Clark, I've read every piece of testimony in the last 4 years, including the one that was submitted on behalf of your group. So I thank you for your active participation, and it has been factored into my decision-making, at least speaking on behalf of myself. Thank you for your participation. Anyone else wishing to provide testimony, present or online? Okay, seeing none. Board members, any comments or questions before I look for a motion? Is there a motion for the board to adopt the recommendations of the report of the Permitted Interaction Group established at the March 25th, 2026 Special General Authority Board Meeting pursuant to Section 92-2.5B Hawaii Revised Statutes for the purpose of 1, conducting the Executive Director's annual performance review, and 2, establishing the Executive Director's new 1, 3, and 5-year goals, and accordingly amend the agency strategic plan adopted by the authority at its June 4th, 2025 General Authority Meeting. Do I hear such a motion?
I so move.
Moved by member Leong. Do I hear a second?
Second, Kevin Sakota.
I'm gonna let member Sakota get it, member Kabibi, but I note for the record that you were right there, real close. Members, any further discussion on the motion? If not, I will ask Craig to take the roll call vote.
Thank you, Chair. On the motion made by member Leong and seconded by member Sakota. Member Leong.
Aye.
Member Sakota.
Yes.
Vice Chair Ishii.
Yes.
Secretary Lidstone.
Aye.
Member Miranda Johnson.
Yes.
Member Anderson.
Yes.
Member Wicker.
No.
Member Strites.
Yes.
Member Forsyth.
Yes.
Member Sarvis.
Yes.
Member Chino. Still, huh?
Is he muted maybe?
Member Chino. They'll say excuse. Yeah. Member Dubasha.
Yes.
Member Gordner. Yes. Member Kabibi.
Yes.
Member Yamasaki.
Yes.
Chair Higa.
Yes.
Chair, the motion passes. One excused, no votes, and one no vote, one excused, and 15 yeses.
14, yeah. 14 yes, one no, one excused,
Sorry,
one vacant.
Math is not good.
You're all good. Motion passes. Next agenda item is for information and discussion. This is the findings and recommendations.
No.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. That shouldn't be on this. Finally, moving to the report of the executive director. This is the monthly report and other status reports, including the monthly financial highlights for April 2026. Executive Director Nakamoto will now provide his monthly report with Garrett Sasaki, Chief Financial Officer, on standby for questions from board members.
Thank you, Chair. In the interest of time, the report is in tab 5, and Garrett's available for questions on the financials. Thank you.
Great. Member Gorder.
I have one question relating to unencumbered funds in Exhibit 5. So I see that we have two significant appropriations that are lapsing: 630, the Kakako roof repairs, and the Saratoga Avenue electrical that have a remaining allotment listed here. So I just wanted to confirm that we are still on track to encumber those by the deadline.
Thank you. Yes, we are on track. We did close procurement on both of those projects. We're in the process of executing the contract and have a timeline to encumber everything by the end of this month.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Member Gordon.
Great. Thank you, Member Gordner. Members, any other comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll open public testimony. Do we have any persons pre-signed up to provide testimony? Any persons present or online wishing to provide testimony? Seeing no one present or online wishing to provide testimony, we will close public testimony. Members, any final questions or comments? Well, if I don't see you again, board members, thank you for your service on this board. It's been a pleasure serving with you. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you to everyone who joined us. The time is now 11:08 a.m. And